Now let's go for the next topic, that is SVG. Okay, first we will see why SVG and then what is SVG. So basically when I talked about the HTML4, I told you a big disadvantage in HTML4 is there's no such a features like graphics, animation or something like that. So it was really very tough and it was really very irritating thing to make use of these, right? So when they thought of HTML5, they thought to overcome those disadvantages. So in that place, they wanted to overcome that disadvantage for the graphics and animation. So they brought into the picture that is SVG. So when this SVG came into picture, many companies started adapting HTML5. I've already mentioned you in the HTML5 history that companies started adapting HTML5 because of its newly added features, right? For that, even this SVG was one of the most important reasons. HTML5 overcome the every or not every but almost every disadvantages of HTML4. Okay, so in that the big role played was SVG. SVG was mainly used for making graphics, animation, taking a short film with the help of this, gaming, like that, attractive things which are really plays and role in graphics. Okay, so SVG, what is SVG? SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. Okay, so see, the word itself says graphics, right? So it's really mainly used for graphics, animations, and I even mentioned in the HTML5 history that they even took and film with the help of HTML5, right? So in that case, SVG, canvas, and each and everything were made use so that the film will be more of graphic based and something like that. So SVG just overcame the drawbacks of HTML4 of animation is not there, graphics is not there and all. Okay, so with the help of SVG, we can define graphics to our web page. Okay, so and SVG is the W3C recommended. I have even told you what is a W3C. It's an office or organization which actually published this HTML5. So it is also recommended. This SVG is also recommended by the W3C office or organization. Okay. For making use of this SVG, we'll make use of the tag SVG. Okay. There are HTML SVG tag or element introduced in the HTML5 is a container for SVG graphics. Okay, it's basically a container for SVG graphics. Why we say it as a container? When I told you about in canvas, it just creates a location or a space for doing some graphics, right? So in the same manner, SVG is a container inside which we will do some or the other kind of graphics to make the page or to make our site more and more attractive. SVG has several methods for drawing parts, boxes, circles, text and graphic images also. So for that we will even see how to draw a circle with SVG, then how to draw a rectangle, then for we will even see for a rounded rectangle, then a star or also known as a polygon, something like that. And even we'll go for a gradient color or logo, something like that. So we'll see some of the difference of these, some of these examples, and we'll understand SVG in more depth. Okay, now let's see a small example for drawing a circle with the help of an SVG. Okay, as I already told, we'll make use of the SVG tag, and for drawing a circle, we'll even make use of a circle tag. Okay, inside which will give the radius, the center point, and then how should the stroke in the sense the border of the circle, how the stroke should be, or how the color of the stroke should be, the width of the stroke and everything. Okay, so we'll make use of these two tags, first the SVG and then the circle tag, and we'll draw a simple circle with them and we'll understand the concept of SVG. Okay, let's go for that. Okay, so as we know, this is the basic or the very mandatory body of the HTML. Okay, so inside the body tag I will have an SVG tag. Okay, okay, inside this I will write some width, because as I have already told, it's in container, right? So inside that container, that's a SVG container, I'm going to draw a circle inside that container. Okay, so for that I'll give the width as 100, and then I'll give height as also 100. Okay, so now inside this I will have another tag, that is the circle tag. Okay, so there's no need for closing it here. Okay, you can even close it like this. I'll show you that also. So in the end, after writing all the attributes or the styles which you want, and after that you can even close it like this. Okay, so inside the circle, now what I have done, I have created a box or something, a container of width 100 and height 100, which is basically a box like or a square, right? So inside that I'm going to draw a circle. So as it's 100, so I'll take the center as 50. So center, and we always know when we take some coordinates, we always have an x coordinate as well as a y coordinate, right? So center x coordinate, so I'll give it as 50. I want the circle in the center. So that's the reason I'm doing this. And center y coordinate is also 50. Okay. Why are we doing like this? If you are noticed in the image mapping, so we took coordinates. So there will be always two coordinates, that's x and y. So say C for center, basically for that, just for variables. Okay. C center, and the x coordinate is also 50 and y is also 50. So what does this mean? In the center part of the box I want a circle. Okay, so I will even give a radius r is equals to, let's give it as 40. Okay, so now the circle will be of a 40 radius. Okay, and I will even give some other, like I want a stroke of green color. Okay, and the stroke width will be, let's give it as 4. Okay, and I'll write fill is equals to yellow. Okay, now what's this? Stroke means the border of the circle, right? So the border will be of a green color. Okay, and the border's width will be of 4 pixel, and the circle which apart from the border, it will be in the yellow color. Okay, now let's run this and see. Okay, so open it, browser. Okay, see, I got in circle, right? So this, the green color, this is the border, right? So it's giving, so it's in the HTML file, it's basically known as a stroke. So I'm giving the color of the stroke, I've given the color of the stroke as green, and it's of 4, right? 4 pixel. And the center is over here, approximately, right? And it's of 40 radius. The circle is of 40 radius. And I've given the fill as yellow, so it's in yellow color. And as we gave the boxes 100 and 100, so this will be, it's invisible because we are not given any border or something like that. So it's, but something of our invisible box is already present in it because we have given a width as well as an height for the SVG. So inside that height and width, that is 100, 100, which is a perfect box or perfect square, inside that we are given, we are drawing a circle of 40 radius and the center as 50, 50, and the stroke is of green and the stroke width is of 4 and the circle is in yellow color. So this is how we draw a simple circle in SVG. So we have you would have even seen this in Canvas also, right? So in the upcoming or in a few minutes, I'll even tell you the difference between these and even comparisons. So you'll even understand what's the use between the both. Okay. Okay, now let's even try to draw a rectangle inside this. Okay, so let's again recap in circle. So inside the circle, we just made use of 3 coordinates. One was the CX, that is center X coordinate, CY, that is center Y coordinate, and the R, which will tell the radius of the circle. Okay, so now when it comes to rectangle, you don't need any type of coordinates. You just need to form a rectangle with the help of an width and height. And as I told, for circle, we'll make use of the SVG as well as the circle tag. For rectangle, we'll make use of the SVG and the rect tag. Okay, so what we did, these all coordinates and all the fill, the stroke, everything was under the circle tag, right? That's an inline style, something like that. So now, even over here, we are going to give something like that only, and we are going to write every attribute inside the rect tag. Okay, so now let's create a rectangle with the help of this. Okay, so now let's go. Okay, I'll just remove this circle and I'll even increase the width to 400. So when it's width and height is equal of pixel in pixels, then it's in square, right? So the width should be always greater than the height, then it is always a rectangle. Okay, so the box is created of 400 pixel width and 100 pixel height. Now let's create let's bring a rect tag. Okay, so we'll close it over here itself. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to write the width. So I'm going to give the same width as of the SVG box, and height is also 100. Okay. Now I will give some styles to this, like giving in color and then the border and all. So let's give like this. Let's give stroke is equals to, let the color be in green. Okay. And then I want the stroke width to be in, let's give it as 10 as it's a rectangle to be more highlighted, and then I'll give the fill as blue. Okay. So now what will happen is we'll get a rectangle of 400 width, 100 height, and the stroke will be of green color of 10 pixel, and the rectangle will be in a blue color. Okay. So now let's save this and run this. So here, okay, see, we got a rectangle. So why are we making use of this rectangle? Why are we drawing this circle and all? Just we are giving in graphics over here. Okay, please understand, these are the examples to make you understand how to create a graphics inside an SVG tag. That's all. Okay, so you can even be more innovative and think a lot, and you can even make more and more of graphics and animations with the help of this. This is just to show you an example that you can do these kind of things, right, inside the SVG. Okay, so in this place, in a place of giving this stroke and all, you can even make use of the inline style, like giving style is equals to fill, and then I'll give the RBG. RBG means red, green, blue, right? So inside that I'll give 0, 0, 255, basically giving a blue color, right? 255, and the stroke, and again the stroke color can be also given with the help of the RBG. Okay, sorry, RGB. It's RGB, red, green, and blue. Okay. So you can make use of these things, then make a combination with the help of this RGB and all. Okay, so you can just give on make on giving more and more animations, and try to give some of the innovative ideas which you have in your mind, and make use of this SVG and make a more graphical representation of your web page or the website. So okay, so basically SVG is really used for graphics. If you would have seen, I'm just showing you in simple and a small examples. You can even enhance it by your innovative thinking and make it more graphical. You can even make gaming, create a film, something like that. Okay, make use of SVG and create more and more. So this was an example for rectangle. So now we'll even see for polygon. Okay, now in the same code we'll make some changes and make that rectangle more of a different image or something more of it attractive. So if you would have noticed in many of the web pages, website, or even in common images or shapes, books, you would have always noted that there would be some image like a rounded rectangle. That means it will not have a sharp edge but a rounded edge, right? Of that of an let's take an example, like it will be of some part of circle, right? So it will be not very sharp, but it will be like a round, okay, like a curve or round. Let's take it area as you feel it. Okay, so now we will do that and see how the rounded is also here. For that you don't need to make any more changes in this. What I'm going to do is, so as it's the width is 400, I'll make this 2. Okay, and then I'll reduce the rectangle width and height. Okay, so let this be in 100 itself. Okay, so now why I'm doing this, so that the SVG and the rectangle is smaller than the SVG, so the output will be more clear for us, because when it was a small normal rectangle, there was no worries about the border, right? But when it comes to a rounded border, something like that, so it should be really very highlighted and you should get a clear output. So I'm making it more smaller than the SVG. Okay, now in this I'll add on 4 components. Okay, or okay, let's add on 4 components. Okay, I'll add X. Before that I'll add the radius. Okay, Rx means I'm giving a radius in the X coordinate. Okay, so radius of 20, and I'm even going to give Ry. Even in that I'm going to give 20. Give radius in X coordinate. So the X means the left topmost part, right? So or the corner of the which has the X coordinate should be of radius 20, and the Y coordinate also I'm giving 20. Okay, now see, what's the output. Okay, if you see, this is the output. As I told you, we should even move it down and left. I'll show you that. See, this is the output, right? So in the direction of X and the direction of Y, it's giving a 20 radius. So now let's even make use of the rest 2 components and move it down. Okay, so I'll move it to 20 pixel down and 20 pixel towards the right. Okay. Okay, so I'm moving it to the down and right. Okay, some 20 pixel down from the actual rectangle. Sorry, from the SVG's topmost position. Okay, and 20 pixel towards the right. So let's see what's the output now. You may be able to see a clear one, right? Okay. Okay, so I have moved it down towards from the x coordinate to 20, and from y to I'm moving it towards the right side for 20. Okay, so see, this is an actual output. We were not able to see the proper output before because the SVG's starting and the rectangle start was same. So SVG is having a normal border of a normal rectangle. Okay, it's a container, right? So that's the reason it was just cutting the borders off. So when I just pushed it down and towards the right, you can see a clear output. So this is giving a rounded one. So why are we making use of this? I have already told you. You can make use of the with the help of this SVG or graphics. We can make gaming, animations, images. So in that places, let's take this as a pool game, right? It's nearby looking like an board, just the color is opposite. Okay, so in such a way you are giving in graphics, and with the help of this you can make a pool game, right? Or giving a more style to this rectangle, putting inside some balls, giving moving functions and all. So this is how the SVG is working, giving an additional function, additional graphics with the help of which we can make our page attractive and even create gaming and even some films like that, which I have already mentioned, right? So this is another example in which I have given a rounded one. Now let's even see for a polygon. Okay, and let's wind this SVG. Okay, now let's see an example for polygon. For drawing in polygon, we'll first make use of the SVG tag, and the second or the additional tag which we are going to make use of is the polygon tag. It's polygon. Okay. Okay. So inside this polygon tag, we are going to give some attributes like points. So what is this points? First I'll explain that. So if you remember in image mapping, we made use of the word chords for drawing the same polygon, or also known as a triangle. In that chords we gave 6 points, right? The one, the starting point or the first point which is in the top. Okay, so triangle always has in 3 points or 3 corners, right? The first corner which is in the top will be having 2 coordinates, and the second corner which is in the right or the or let's take it in the left, it will also have 2 coordinates, and the one which is opposite to it will also have 2 coordinates. So totally 6 coordinates. So in the image mapping we made use of the attribute chords, right? So now we'll make use of the attribute points. I'm so sorry. Okay, points. With this, inside this attribute, I'm going to give 6 coordinates and draw a polygon. Okay, now let's just, we don't need this code. So now I write polygon. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to make use of the attribute points. Okay. Okay. Before going for this, please do remember that this axis is x and this axis is y. So if I say x is equals to 50, then it will move towards the right for 50. And if I say y is equals to 50, then it will move from top to down for 50. Okay. So for this 6, the first or the topmost corner, I will move towards the right for, let's take it as 200 pixel. Okay, so let it be in a center. Okay, as the width of SVG is 400, the center is 200, right? So 200. So I'm moving it from the right or from the x-axis towards the right side for 200 pixels. Okay, and come on, I'll move it to down for 10 pixels. Okay, so this is for the first corner or for the first coordinate. So now let's go for the second corner or the second point. So in that I want it to be moving towards the right for 100 pixel, and from the top to down it should move for 150 pixel. Okay. So this is for the first corner and this is for the second. Now let's go for the third one. Okay, so third one I wanted to move towards the right for 300 pixel, and from top to bottom for 150 pixel. So this both are same because always, and for normally a triangle will have the base in the same position, right? So it will be really very opposite or in same line. So that's the reason I've given the y as C. Okay, now let's save this and run this. See, I got a triangle. So it's in black color. Let's give some styling properties to this. So let's give stroke is equals to purple and Width I'll give it as 5. Okay, and then I'll write fill is equals to, let's give it as hot pink. Okay, now let's save this and let's run this. See, okay, so as we did, the first coordinate was of 200, 10. So from the x-axis it's moving towards the right for 200 pixel, and from top to down it's moving for 10. Okay, so this was for the first point, and when it came for the second, it's 100, 150. Okay, from the x-axis towards the right it's moving for 100 pixels, and from top it's moving for 150. And when it was over the third, it's like 300, 150. So from the x-axis it's moving towards the right for 300 pixels, and from top to down it's 150 pixels. So this is a perfect triangle with an hot pink color and a purple in the border, also known as a stroke. Okay, so this is how we make use of a polygon. So we'll even see the next one. That one is for giving a logo or a gradient color. Okay, so I think we have even discussed this prior itself in the canvas. So in the canvas I showed you an example of a linear gradient, right? So the same concept is here also. So I'm not going to give you any example. Please refer to the canvas one. The same thing. There are only minute changes. Okay, so I'll just give a recap with that, and I'll just share it in shortly. Okay, so there's no need for any example as it is already been taught with an example. So for this also make use of the basic tag, that is SVG, and the additional two tags, that is one of the defs, and inside that we'll make use of a linear gradient tag. Okay, so now what is the difference over here? In the canvas we used to all give it together. The chords should be inside one round braces, like x1 comma y1, then x2 comma y2, right? So it was always in a circle braces or in a round braces in this format, right? Now in this SVG what we are going to do is we'll give it separately in this format. X1 is equals to, let's give it as 0 and then a percent sign. Okay, and then y1 is equals to 0 and then a percent sign. Then x2 is equals to, we'll give 100 and then a percent sign, and then y2 is equals to 0%. Okay, so now what's the difference? Just a basic one. All the values which we are writing in this SVG were written in just inside a circle braces, or it can be even said like this: the values which were written inside the circle braces are now separated and given some name. So name is equals to the value. Okay, so this is it. Just this is a difference. So nothing else is different in this. You just need to make use of the SVG tag. Inside that will make use of the def tag. Inside that will make use of the linear gradient tag. Okay, inside the linear gradient we'll make use of the ID as we always do. Then we'll go for x1, x2, y2, x2 and all. Okay, so we'll just split the values, and with the help of the name we'll just split it and write it in the separator formats with the help of, as I have shown you, right? So only this is the difference, or can also be said as the structure is different, just that, nothing else is different, and even the structure change, only this is different, so very minute one. So there's no need for any example. So this is all about the SVG. Okay, so now let's see the advantages of SVG, and then we'll even see the difference between SVG and canvas and the comparison also. Okay. Okay, now let's see the advantages of SVG. Okay. I'm so sorry, it's me. Okay. Advantages, or also can be said as benefits of SVG. So the first point under this is it is scalable. Okay, or known as scalability. Okay. So one of the major benefits of SVG is that they are resolution independent. Okay, so now what does this mean? This means that unlike the other files like JPG or PNG, SVG retains the same quality no matter what screen resolution or size they are being at. So when you see, when if you zoom an JPG or PNG file, as soon as you zoom the image gets scattered. Okay, the quality of the image becomes low, or we can even say that it is pixelated. Okay, so what happens when you zoom, the image becomes blur, but when it is about the SVG, there's no such thing. Okay, because it is resolution independent. Let it be anything, let the resolution be very high, low, the size be high, low, it doesn't say anything, but the pixel will be as short and clear or very sharp as it was. Okay, so there will be no changes, or any blur or any pixelated images will not be created with this SVG. So which is a big advantage of SVG. So first one is the scalability, and the second one is the file size. Okay, using SVG can result in smaller file sizes than the other file types when optimized properly. Okay, this is helpful when dealing with higher resolution screens, since SVG doesn't need to be created at larger sizes to accommodate the difference like raster images do. If you are using SVG files on your website, smaller sizes means your images will load faster. Okay, as we know, as we everyone know, the size as the size of the file is slow, or low, the file will get loaded very easily. So in that case, SVG is really playing a big role. Okay, so as I said, when it's resolution independent, we can even create an image of a low size, right? And we can even zoom it, so it will not be a scattered or pixelated image. So the smaller the size, the faster the result is. Okay, and the third one is the editing capability. Okay, I'll write it as capabilities. Okay, so SVG files are unique in that they can be edited in graphic editing programs such as the Illustrator or the Sketch or something like that, like the other images. Okay, but also in a text editor where the markup can be adjusted directly. Okay, so this is the another advantage of the SVG. So editing capability is more than the other ones. Okay, and the next one is the performance. Okay, using an inline SVG is beneficial to the performance of a website, because what it happens, it actually eliminates the HTTP request needed to load in an image file. Since no files needed to download, this request is smaller loading times for a page. Okay, so this makes your website appear more faster to the visitors and improving the user's experience. Okay, so basically, if you would have seen, there will be some HTTP request, and also it will make the users feel like the website is very slow, or it's making a lot of time to get loaded. So because of this SVG, there's no such HTTP request and all. So the visitor will feel as, wow, it's really very fast and it is really very user friendly or user improving one. Okay, the next one is the style control. Okay. Another benefit of using the inline SVG method is that it allows you to control the styles within your images. Okay, you can control properties such as the fill color, stroke, size, and more through CSS. As we just saw some examples in that, we made use of the stroke, and then we gave some color for it, and then we even gave some width, and then we made use of the fill attribute. So this can also be done. Okay, this is especially useful for adding an over effects to an image, eliminating the need for image sprites. So if you would have noticed in many websites or in web pages, when you take the mouse over to the image, it always gives some other styling properties, like it just gets zoomed in or something, or gets highlighted. Some of the other style is given in the hover method also, right, in the over effect. So in that case, style control is also there in SVG. So these are the main 5 advantages of SVG. So before always going for SVG, we should always know what is the advantages, where it is used, why it is used, and how can we get an effective output with the help of this. Okay, now let's go for the next topic, that is the difference between the SVG and the canvas. Okay, so when we saw the examples of circle, rectangle, polygon, and the gradient one, we always got an question like, what's the difference between the SVG and canvas, right? So now let's see that. Okay, SVG is a language for describing 2D graphics in XML. Okay, so this is the first point in SVG. So now when it comes to Canvas, Canvas draws 2D graphics on the fly, that is by making use of the JavaScript. Okay, so here the 2D graphics is in XML, describing 2D graphics in XML, and here 2D graphics on the Canvas draws the 2D graphics on the fly, that is with the JavaScript. Okay, now let's go for the second point, that is SVG is XML based. Okay, XML based. Okay, which means that every element is available within the SVG DOM. That is SVG DOM. Okay, you can attach JavaScript event handlers for an element. Okay, so here the SVG is totally based on the XML, and here it is available within the SVG DOM. And when it comes to Canvas, in this place it's not such anything that it's based on XML. No, as I already told, here the graphics is in XML, but here it's on JavaScript. Okay, so there's no comparison in this point. But when it comes to the next one, that is in SVG, each drawn shape is remembered as an object. Okay, if attributes of an SVG object are changed, the browser can automatically re-render the shape. Okay, auto re-render. Okay, so here it's a big difference over here. So you can see about Canvas. So when it comes about Canvas, Canvas is rendered pixel by pixel. Okay, in Canvas, once the graphics is drawn, it is forgotten by the browser. If its position should be changed, the entire scene needs to be redrawn, including any object that might have been covered by the graphics. So what I told you here, see, it's always remembered by the browser, okay, as an object. But when it comes to Canvas, it's not remembered because it is rendered pixel by pixel. In case once if we want to do some other or give the change in the position, something like that, then we are supposed to follow from step 1 and we can't follow from the step 3 itself. So when it comes to SVG, if you are in the step 3 and we want to change something in step 2, you can directly jump to step 2 and change it. But when it comes to about Canvas, you are supposed to start from the first step itself. You can't say that no, I want to start from the second one only because I just need to do changes in second. Okay, so these are the difference. Okay, so it's SVG is describing 2D graphics in XML, and here it's on the fly, that is JavaScript. XML is based on SVG DOM, but there's nothing which is really different or something based on Canvas for this point. And when it comes to remembering an object in SVG, it is always remembered and it is also auto rendered. Okay, when there is any change. But when it comes to Canvas, it is a rendered pixel by pixel. So when you want to do some changes in the objects, you are supposed to always do it from the start and not in the middle. But in SVG, you can do it at any position because that is, and automatically it is rendered. Okay, so in Canvas you can't do such thing. Okay, so this is the difference between the SVG and Canvas. Now let's even see the comparison between the SVG and the Canvas. Okay, now see, let's go for Canvas. The first point under the Canvas is it is resolution dependent. Okay, and when it comes to SVG, it is resolution independent. Okay, we even saw an example for this, right? So when it I gave you an explanation for this in the advantages. Okay, so when it was about the SVG, even if you zoom the picture, it will not be scattered or pixelated. But when it comes about the Canvas, the image zoom will be always of blurred or pixelated, something like that, or it will change the high quality Canvas image to low quality. Okay, so the second point under this is no support for event handler. And when it comes about the SVG, it has event handler. Okay. Right, no support. Okay. So see, first one was, this is the canvas is the resolution dependent and SVG is resolution independent, and here there is no event handler support, and here the event handler is support. And when it comes, the third point for canvas is for text rendering. Okay, and in SVG it is best suited for application with larger rendering areas. Okay. Okay, and the fourth point under canvas is you can save the resulting image as .png or .jpg, okay, or something like that. And when it comes about the SVG, slow rendering is complex. Why? Anything that uses the DOM, a lot will be slow. Okay. Slow rendering if complex. Okay, I said is complex. Now it's if slow rendering is complex. So what is complex? Anything that uses the DOM a lot will always be slow. Okay. And the fifth and the last point under this comparison is, and under the canvas, is that well suited for graphic intensive games. Okay, and when it comes about the SVG, not suited for game application. Okay, when we say basically about graphics, graphics is for gaming, animation, and each and everything comes under graphics. But inside that graphics also we have two, right? Canvas and SVG. So when it comes about the canvas, it is really well suited for graphics. That doesn't mean that the SVG is not at all suited, nothing like that, but it's really not as compared as canvas. It is not, SVG is not suited for gaming application. Okay. So these are the comparisons of canvas. So as I gave you an example, the zoomed image of canvas is always blurred or always pixelated, but when it comes to SVG, it is not so. Your event handler is not present, but your event handler is there. Okay. So these are the 5 main things of, or the 5 comparisons of canvas, that canvas and SVG, for our question, why to use canvas or why to use SVG, or why not the other one? Okay, we always have this question. What's the difference? Why are we using SVG in this place and why are we not using a canvas? Or why are we using canvas and why are we not using SVG? So here the last one is really a good example. So when it comes for gaming graphics or something like that, then make use of the canvas more than the SVG. So canvas is recommended more than SVG. Okay, so this is a comparison of canvas and SVG.